desktop knife review. Yes, another knife. This is an Eka Swingblade sent to me by a subscriber called Bjørnar. Thank you for that, mate. I'm sorry I can't pronounce your name very well. I'm not very good with Norwegian names, but he's a good guy, and he saw that I was having some trouble skinning a rabbit with my Opinel, and he sent me this. This is, as I said, an Eka Swingblade. Now it's a funny one because it's a bit of a sort of combination, really, of a fixed blade and a penknife. It's obviously it is a fixed blade. You have a sheath with it and you stick it in there. But if you want to, you just press this little button, and then you can turn it around, hold it like this, and you've got a gutting hook. As you can see on the back, it's completely flat and blunt, and on the tip it's blunt and then really sharp along here. So you can nick a little hole with the main blade, stick it in the hole, and then just open a rabbit up like it's a tin can. In fact, if you look here, you'll see how I got on legging and gutting a rabbit. It did the job brilliantly. The rabbit was a little bit of a mess, I have to admit, but that's because it was a spine shot. So apologies for that. But either way, it did a really, really good job there. Now, it's made of some quite interesting steel. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Sandvik. If I can get that to focus on the exact type. Yeah, it's 12C27. Now that's quite interesting steel because it's from, I believe it's from a mine in France somewhere, and it's running out. They don't actually, it's unique to the world. There's no other steel like it, and because of that, when it runs out, and we aren't going to be getting any more. So it's a real pleasure to get hold of some, to be honest, especially of this sort of quality. Now I was quite surprised because it really is shaving sharp out of the box. I've never really had a knife before that I thought couldn't do with being a bit sharper when I've had it new, except for this one. And it really does just glide through, whatever it is you need to sharpen, to cut, right to the tip as well. I've really sort of gone on well with it. And I skinned a rabbit with it not that long ago, just for a bit of a test. So if you look here, don't want to go through bone with this knife. Go for the ferrets. Cut those off. With those. More. You'll see how I got on with that. You might have thought I was taking my time over it, but that was because I was keeping the skin, so I didn't want to risk piercing the skin, and I also didn't want to get too much fat under the skin. So rather than just peeling it, I was sort of very much sort of edging it off. In fact, if you bear with me a moment, this is the skin. Now, it's a bit hard at the moment. I need to treat it. I've got some stuff to treat it, I just haven't got round to it yet. But as you can see, it did a really good job. There's not too much fat or anything on the inside. So I'll be hopefully making something out of that eventually. Now, even small game, like I say that is small game obviously, but really small game, it does the job too. I breasted a pigeon with it as a test, because this does seem on the big side, and I was a bit sceptical, but it did that really well too. As I said, if you look here, so here's the wood pigeon I shot earlier. Let's try this out, see how he sinks into the flesh. This hasn't been sharped or stropped or anything at all, so let's see how it performs. I would say it is kind of on the big side for this job, but seems to do it pretty well, as far as I can tell. There we go. See how I got on. My only worry was that because it's so sharp and it's a slightly bigger edge, I was worried I was going to go through the rib cage and into the guts because it really is that sharp. But it had no problems at all with it. In fact, I have on another occasion for a friend, I had to cut the tail off a fox with this. Now, it actually sliced through the bone. It wasn't a question of me sawing through it or batoning through it. It literally just cuts through the bone. Now, after doing that, I did put a slight burr on the edge. But to fix that, I just got my Spyderco sharp maker out, and I put it on a 40-degree angle, because that's what the bevel is on this knife, out of the box. And I just did about 10 passes, like that. And that really was all it took to get it really super sharp again. As I said, I mean, I don't know if I can show you here if I've got any hair left on my arms, because I've had to do a few takes. And get that to focus. Yeah, there we go. It really will remove hair really well, as you can see. So it's a great blade. As I said, the only thing that I was a bit concerned about is that it does have a little bit of wobble in the blade, but it is very utilitarian. It's Swedish. It's not designed to look pretty, and that bit of wobble, it doesn't really affect you at all. Although you could tighten it up. There's these screws you can tighten, but that bit of wobble is probably helpful, because if you get a bit of dirt in there and the tolerances are really high, you might have trouble getting it to open. So it's going to work when you need it. I found it really easy to clean. I've just literally just chucked it in the washing up bowl and just washed it. Had no problems at all getting it really clean. If you wanted to, if you've got the right head, because these like sort of hex screws, you can take all these out and take it completely apart and clean it. I haven't needed to do that though. It performs, well as it was. If you look on Eka's website, there's a bit more information there. As you can see, I mean, you can find most of what you need to do on Jackfall. But if you do look at Eka, they do have an interesting video of them skinning a deer. If you look here, be able to see what I'm talking about, and it really can do a very, very, very large game if that's what you need it for. So it really is a really good all-round knife. I'll be using it in the foreseeable future, and I can't see myself changing anytime soon. So thanks a lot, Bjørnar. I'll put a link to his YouTube channel in the description. He likes to get out with his 308, and he's got a 2.2 I think as well, and does lots of hunting and stuff. So check out his videos, because he's a good guy, and you'll probably find those interesting. And there we are. That's about it, really, to be honest. So I hope you enjoyed that. Like and subscribe.